Hey guys, welcome back to I guess an extended kind of shortened version of our Coffee with Coaches show. We've got a special pre-recorded show this week. We were fortunate enough to have the new first head football coach of the University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, Travis Bush, join us today. Um, Able to fit us into a schedule, so we had to kind of move some things around. So no live show this week, so this will be a pre-recorded show, and you will be seeing this on Wednesday, the what is that, the 27th? I think that's what it is.
Yeah,
The
27.
27th of March. Coach Bush, we appreciate you taking the time out. We know you're busy. We know everything that's going on with building a program and recruiting and whatnot. So we really appreciate the time you're taking to jump in with us for a few minutes.
Oh, appreciate y'all's time. Glad to be here.
So, for those of you guys who are very unfamiliar, have lived under a rock for the past few years, Coach Bush is a Coastal Bend native. Started his high school football career in Justin's backyard over there in Gregory Portland High School. His dad, Bruce Bush, legendary coach in the area. I think he's in the Rio Grande Coaches Hall of Fame. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Travis?
and Coastal Bend, yeah.
Yeah, and he was actually the coach, and I've talked about it numerous times. My cousin Brian Romero was a quarterback there in Gregory Portland. He was there for Coach Bush's first year that led that Cardiac Cats team to the state semifinals and bowed out against A&M Consolidated in then, which was a state-of-the-art stadium, the Astrodome.
Yeah.
That was the big goal back in the day. Travis, you weren't too bad of a quarterback yourself back in Gregory Portland. Is that right?
Yeah, we had a good team. It was good. We we went to the semifinals as well, back to the Dome. I think my sophomore year, and then our senior year, it was always us and Kyle Allen every year for district, and we went 10-0 those 2 years, and good times, good. Just tough competitors. It seemed like every week we were undersized, but that GP tradition and pride, and we just got after people's tail, and it was fun.
Your I hate to bring it up, but your senior season got cut short, didn't it? In that playoff run, right? And I think that's really what turned the tide of that ball game, wasn't it?
Yeah, kind of, got knocked out, broke my arm in the first quarter there. We got kind of, toe to toe there with Hayes, and then they kind of ran away with it after that.
And Justin just had a power blip. He's out of the room. Yeah, and you can
actually feelings there, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you can actually see that. We talked about it with Coach before he got on. If you want to see Coach Bush's exploits, you go on YouTube and find that 1995 Gregory Portland highlight reel, and it's out there. It's we used
94.
to work. Yeah, 94. We worked with this guy, Frankie Mendez, who was a Gregory Portland guy as well, and he would be playing that like at random throughout the night when we're working night shift and stuff. But so Coach, you've from Gregory Portland, you went on to Texas State, right?
Yes.
And played wide receiver there, and then jumped on the coaching staff there immediately right after, correct? So let's
I actually right out of college, I worked for my dad at San Marcos High School. So he was then the head coach there at San Marcos. So I spent a year with him there, and then ended up getting on at TCU when Patterson took over there in 2001.
So from then, you've kind of jumped the college ranks there a little bit, right? So and then came back to high school.
Mm-hmm.
What drove you, I guess, to decide, hey, you know what? Because looking at your resume, I mean, you were kind of looking like you were on the fast track to start getting some big power D1 jobs. So what was the mentality there for you? What made you switch gears and decide to come back to the high school game?
It was always a plan. I have two boys, and I played for my dad, and I knew, and me and my wife, we always talked about, regardless, I always wanted to coach my boys, and things kind of worked out the way they did, and that opportunity popped up when our oldest was a freshman. And so we kind of, things worked out there, and we got, the staff got let go at Houston, and then I had to, spent the year 2015 up in Buffalo, and then, that being up there away from the family, and kind of solidified that, we really wanted to spend that time and get into high school and coach our boys, and really and my youngest is still in high school, so
okay,
that was the plan. Got the Seguin job when our oldest was a freshman, when Trey was a freshman, and then went over to Canyon, and I learned a long time ago, you kind of take every job like it's your last, and there was no looking for jobs, and I was committed to coaching Ty till he graduated, and then we talked to D about hey, we'll see what happens after he graduates. So when this deal popped up, Ty was a sophomore for us in 22, so and I had a relationship with Chase. So when this deal popped up, I went and talked to Ty, and I said, look, here's the deal. Here's an opportunity, but if you want me to coach you till you graduate, I'm not going to waste your time. And he actually took about 25 hours, but he came back and said, no, go for it. And maybe the opportunity for him to have a chance to coach him again down here. But he's still a junior right now, and he has one more year to graduate. But that's kind of the mentality was always wanted to coach the boys, and again, I was had planned on retiring as a high school coach till this deal popped up, and so now your goals kind of change again.
So let's talk about that, right? So a lot of folks were first off, it's the Valley. I grew up in the Valley. I played high school football at Harlingen for a few years, and we know how the Valley is with football. I took Justin down there a couple years ago to watch the Battle of the Arroyo, the San Benito Harlingen game, and he was kind of in awe by it. And yeah, I can only imagine what it's been like right now with this football program spinning up.
Oh yeah, it's I mean, to me, I've said it before. I think the most passionate football fans in America are right down here. And I actually grew up down here. My family's from Mercedes, on my mom's side, and my dad. I started elementary school down here in the Valley, and when Dad was coaching at PSJ in the '80s, that was back when every town only had one school.
Yeah,
you can imagine back then. It was just PSJ, Edinburgh, Harlingen, Mission. Every town had one school, so you can imagine the number of people at those games back in the day. And that was my first impression of football. And then going from here to Alice in the '80s, just that tradition and toughness, and those times is what sparked my passion for the game of football and coaching. And then obviously the years at Gregory Portland. So it's South Texas football is it's hard to explain to people that aren't from here and haven't seen it in person, but especially down here. So you can imagine, you see the way they rally around the last playoff team down here, and they've done that from day one for us, and the excitement, the support just keeps growing by the day for us.
Justin, I've been hogging all the questions since you've been trying to get back on. What do you got?
Well, first of all, y'all mentioned the cardiac cats, and I legit had a power blip. My house down here, dude. So I'm late to the convo. So what did I miss? Catch me up just briefly.
We briefly talked about his career, where it jumped and why he decided to go from his fast track, potentially get an NFL job or a high power coordinator job somewhere in college and coming back to high school, and then what got him here to UTRGV.
Yeah, I want to say when I was playing, I think you were at Texas State, maybe, or I was Texas State or RWA, possibly.
Texas State. I from TCU came down to Texas State, and then ended up I was a part of the original staff of UTSA, so had that opportunity to go work for Coach Coker there, and left Texas State to go start that program. So kind of seen it firsthand as an assistant. It was a heck of a lot more fun. We didn't have to make any decisions. So this time's a little different.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by that? By not having to make any decisions? Because you did build that staff there. You built a program there at UTSA. So this isn't something new to you building a program.
Yeah, just you're not the head coach. You just kind of you take orders and do what you're supposed to do. And now you're making decisions on buildings and stadiums and practice fields and facilities and staff and all kinds of things and budget. But it's great. I mean, I think every experience along the way, kind of prepares you for what you're doing, and so much. Even though it was in high school, but being an athletic director and head coach for 7 years at that level, still though making those decisions, being in those positions and dealing with people and budgets and facilities and all that type of stuff. Again, it still prepares you for what we're doing right now.
I'm about to say, I think that being from Texas, right, and being an AD here, and I don't want to take away from other states, but I feel like, just the amount of pressure you have as an athletic director in the state of Texas to win, right, and to do it the right way would probably give you a pretty good leap, right, a good stepping stone to make what the transition you're making right now, and starting a program. That's a little different than just going into a college and taking one over. But you like you said, you hit on all the things where I was going with that. The meetings, the decision making and whatnot. But what do you think the biggest challenge was when you got down there right off the bat for yourself, adjusting to leaving high school and transitioning into a brand new upstart program?
It's just, really just kind of kind of starting with nothing. You have a blank sheet of paper, didn't even have an office, and you're by yourself, and then you finally hire one guy, and then we went through the last fall with 3 coaches and recruiting, but now we've got a full staff. So again, the runway's been great, our administration's been great. A lot of things, there was a lot of unknowns, but everything so far has just exceeded expectations, and goes back to the commitment to excellence from our president, Dr. Bailey, and Chase Conquer, athletic director, and the way this thing's set up. Because again, I've been a part of it at UTSA when we started football, but we didn't have any facilities built. Everything was so hard there. We had a practice at a high school stadium for years. We didn't have a building of our own on campus, and had to makeshift stuff. And so to see that facilities are being built, we're going to have one of the best facilities in the nation, but for sure the top of our conference, whatever conference we end up in, is we're going to be the best facilities there, and the resources here, the budgets, everything's kind of set up for this thing to be successful. So that's been and then looking at not the unknown of, okay, what kind of staff are we going to be able to get down here, and then you look at the caliber of staff that we've been able to recruit to get down here is phenomenal, and got some outstanding coaches and resumes. And then again, what kind of recruits are we going to be able to get down here? And we were really, this practice year, we were trying to bring in about hopefully 60 to 80 guys. And so we didn't know how many we'd be able to sign. And at this point, really, we were hoping to maybe have 40. And on February 7th, we had to cut it off at 73 guys.
Nice.
There's just so many people wanting to be a part of this. But then now it goes back to the landscape of college football, that there's so many great athletes in Texas not getting recruited because of the transfer portal. We're able to get guys to come walk on here that should be scholarship guys somewhere. And all 73 of those guys are Texas high school guys. So that's going to be definitely a footprint for us. But I think there's so many out there not getting recruited. And then you look at, stadium, you look at yesterday, the resources with the backers and their commitment to this university and the stadium. So many things right now are exceeding expectations that it keeps getting exciting.
So that kind of leads me to my next question. How was that for you, jumping back into the recruiting world? Because you did it as an assistant, right? So you had that initial, you know how to recruit. How was that different from now you're recruiting as a head coach and going through that process all over again?
It wasn't much different. It's just obviously, things have evolved a little bit in college, and we're still around it. Even in high school, you still got coaches coming to recruit your kids. So I think the biggest thing now, I've been on the other side of it too, as a high school coach, and, making sure we're doing right by those guys and in recruiting, but it's still about building relationships, and again, going back to, I think the experiences recruiting in college early also prepared you to be an athletic director in high school, because you're dealing with different people in different sports, and you learn how to build those connections and keep those relationships and connect with different groups of people. And then again, those experiences have benefited coming back into the recruiting game. But it's building relationships. That's the biggest key I've learned over 25 years of coaching and recruiting, and that's anything in life. It's all about relationships.
So with you kind of hit it a little bit with the landscape changing in recruiting and NIL and things like that with in the college game, do you see any hurdles that you're going to have to get across with some of that stuff with building a program? I'm not even going to say with a power program, if you're just fighting for a recruit with another school, and hey, this school can do this for you versus, this is just a startup school, how do you kind of combat that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, there was obviously there was some that was another unknown. Again, who's going to be interested in coming down here? But I think the opportunity again, that these guys saw to come down here, be a part of history, be a part of something special. Once they saw the plan of what we're doing with the facilities and everything, and the commitment to make this thing one of the best in the nation, and then get them down here to the valley, and then they realize it's not little border communities, it's a metroplex down here. And
it's not Mexico. Yeah,
you got over 2 million people, and you got everything that you have in San Antonio and Austin and Houston. And so guys were excited about that and excited about the opportunity. Obviously, we have no upperclassmen. You're not coming in here, and really for the biggest selling point for the high school guys is everyone's going to come in here in redshirt. We're not playing the game next year, so everyone's redshirting. Well, you go anywhere else in the nation in red shirt as a freshman, you're going to play scout team. You're not playing scout team here. Everybody here is competing for a position. You're going to get coached. You're going to get developed. We're going to practice all fall. You're going to get every single rep. There's no place you can develop more as a redshirt freshman than you can here, because you're gonna be competing for a starting job, and so a lot of guys like that opportunity and the ability to come in and have that year to develop and grow and then the opportunity to play for 4 years after that.
That's pretty solid. Yeah, you don't really think about that, whenever the opportunity to get a whole fall underneath your belt. You're not just getting thrown out there into the mix, but that's a good selling point right there, especially for like you hit the nail on the head, right? There's so many kids that get under recruited here in Texas, really nationwide now because of the transfer portal. But at the same time, like I think the transfer portal could also be a big beneficiary for a program like yourself as you're upstarting going into the next year, because now you can say, hey, look, maybe it didn't work out at one of the bigger schools here in Texas or across the country somewhere, and you have that selling point. Hey, you can come in here, you have experience, you can come earn a job and compete against the guys that are here, and and that also can almost boost yourself up, because we saw TCU do it with Sonny Dykes. They went from they ran off Patterson, and then the very next year they're in the national championship game, right? That was all built off the transfer portal. So, there's two sides to that coin, I always think. And, me and Jacob talk about this all the time. The transfer portal for me, while it does hurt, the kids coming out of high school, I think it also kind of helps some of the kids that did get under recruited out of high school, because, they have that opportunity to go per se to let's say A&M Kingsville, for example, right?
Yeah.
They show up there, they do good. Well, hey, you see them. Hey, come on down here to UTRGV, right? Let's get you a little more notoriety. We're a D1 program, right? So I think there's two sides to that coin. And
no doubt. And we're always going to recruit Texas high schools every year, but we're going to look at every resource available. And the transfer portal does give us an opportunity to get some upperclassmen off the bat. Going back to UTSA, we didn't have that option back then. So we opened up. We had the same plan. We redshirted a class and practiced, and we played the next year. But we opened up with just freshmen and redshirt freshmen that first year, and it was rough. So this gives us the ability to have juniors and seniors right off the bat in certain positions. So we're definitely going to look at all resources available.
Well, Coach, the whole reason we started this show was to kind of get some exposures on some Coastal Bend athletes and South Texas athletes, because we felt like they were getting under recruited. And, looking at your recruiting class this year, you got a lot of South Texas flavor in that class. And that makes the couple guys in this room pretty happy.
Yeah.
To see these guys finally getting their shot,
Yeah. And, I've been there. That was me. I had to go walk on and earn a spot and scholarship at Southwest Texas, because, nobody wanted a 5'9" slot T quarterback, but, so I've always had a heart for kid, and there's good football. There's tough guys that just want an opportunity. So, definitely we got, out of the 73, 45 or San Antonio area South. So, South Texas guys and, Coastal Bend guys. Laredo got 9, I think, from the Rio Grande Valley, and then a good chunk from the greater San Antonio area. So, definitely there's a lot of guys out there in across the state, but definitely going to start here and work our way up the state. And if we can get local guys that are close to home and passionate about proving themselves down here, then we're excited about them.
Justin, you got anything before we wrap up? We're running short on time.
You don't get hurt in that game against Westlake? We win, right?
Hey, yeah.
We win that game, right?
I hope so. I think so. We felt confident, going in, because we felt confident we were going to play Kyle Island again the next week, and we'd already beat them once. We felt like we were probably our fault, probably karma. We're looking ahead to that game and not paying attention to the one we have right there. But now that's again, going back to relationships and the relationships you build through athletics and football, and some of our still talk to those guys. We still talk about our high school times and the boot camps and competition days and all the stuff we did growing up. And it was a fun time. Back in the 90s in GP, it was just a fun time to place out there. No social media. It was just you play a football game, you get up and read the paper on Saturday morning and look at stats, and there wasn't any cell phones or anything. So it was a fun time to be around.
It was definitely different. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. Like I was telling you before we started, I'm on that deep dive with the Friday Night Lights book again. It's probably the 20th time I read this book. And it's just reading the differences of how it was back then to the way the game is now
Yeah.
and the way
Well, and now it's like, everybody wants to play to get recruited. Nobody cared about getting recruited back then. We played for our high school team, and
Yeah.
now our goal was to be the best Gregory Portland Wildcat we could be. And if something happened after that, great. We never got a call from a college coach until January of our senior year. And that's and obviously recruiting is different because there's no same deal. There's no social media and video and all that stuff that allows us to get early access on guys now. But there was no there was no ulterior motives other than, hey, we were just going to play. We were going to sell out for our dude next to us and play for the pride of your community, and that was it.
Yeah. Justin, you got anything before we go?
No. Good. I'm
Coach.
sorry I logged out, guys.
It happens. It happens, man. Our guys across the street are probably freaking out right now too. You know what I mean?
Appreciate you guys, man. It's always good to visit and talk. Anything you need on our end, let us know. We do this again, but always willing to pop on and share whatever we can with you guys.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate it, man. Like you said, we know you're busy today. You got a whole lot going on. Just like you said, you had the name reveal of the stadium yesterday and some other stuff popping up. So we appreciate it, Coach. And good luck as the season goes on. Maybe as we get closer and you guys getting practices getting underway and things like that, maybe we'll re-engage the season goes on. Maybe we can get down there and get a tour of the facilities or whatnot.
Anytime, come on down. Come on down,
guys. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate your time for this quickie and this coffee with coaches, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right.